You're listening to the Culips English Podcast. To download the study guide for this episode, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real-world examples, and a quiz, visit our website, culips.com. CULIPS.com. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew.
And I'm Suzanne.
And you're listening to Culips. Hey there, Suzanne.
Hey, Andrew. How's it going?
It's going all right, but I'm pretty hot, Suzanne. It's really hot and stuffy in my apartment right now. How are you?
It's the worst whenever you're having to record, right? In the hot, studio because you don't want any motors running or AC going.
That's right. I have an air conditioner in my apartment, but if I turn it on, then there will be an annoying buzzing sound in the background for the entire episode. So I decided to turn it off. Everyone, I'm sweating away here for you guys.
I gotta say, but one nice thing about Montreal, it's never that hot. I mean, not really. Not terribly, terribly hot. Not yet, I would say, right? Not yet.
Not yet. Anyway, Suzanne, today we're not going to talk about the weather. We're actually going to talk about how to buy a bus ticket at a bus terminal. So today we'll do a Real Talk episode, and Real Talk is the Culips series where we teach you guys the language and the expressions that you need to know in order to successfully navigate everyday, real world, real life situations. And Suzanne, did you know that this was actually a request from not one, not two, but several of our listeners?
Wow.
Yeah. And so I thought, wow, people are interested in learning how to do this, how to buy a bus ticket. But just before we get started, I want to remind everyone that we do have a study guide for this episode, and following along with the study guide and using it after you listen to the episode is a really great way to take advantage of what we will teach you here today. So if you're interested in downloading the study guide, just visit our website, culips.com, for all of the information you need in order to get the study guide. So, Suzanne, what is the plan for this episode?
Well, today we're going to start by listening to an example conversation between a woman and a bus company employee at the bus terminal. The woman buys a bus ticket to Calgary, Alberta.
Actually, this is a 100% real conversation. When I was researching this episode, I found a lady on YouTube who actually filmed herself buying a bus ticket. And originally I wanted to use just that audio. I was going to rip it from YouTube and just put it right into this podcast, but the sound quality was really, really terrible. So instead, we will reenact it. But just so all the listeners know, this is 100% natural. I changed a couple of the details so that her privacy would be respected. But yeah, this is as real as it gets.
That's so cool. So after, we'll take a close look at the expressions and the vocabulary that you can use when you need to buy a bus ticket at the actual bus terminal.
Sounds like a great plan for today. So let's get started. Let's listen to that example conversation right now.
I was wanting to go to Calgary 7:25 p.m.
Actually, we don't have a 7:25 today.
What time's the next time?
Calgary, Alberta? It'll be... Ma'am, I'm sorry. It'll be 10:20 tonight.
10:20 tonight. So you have nothing for 7:25.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll wait. How much is it?
It's going to be $22.50.
Okay.
And you've only got just the one bag, correct?
I forgot I gotta weigh that.
Just make sure that you tear the old tag off too.
Okay.
And what's your first name?
Nikki.
Nicky?
Uh-huh.
Last name?
Smith.
Smith?
No, Smyth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a phone number, Miss Smith?
123-456-7891.
Okay, Miss Smith, your bus is going to be leaving out there from gate 10 at 10:20. Just make sure you tear that old bag tag off for me, okay?
Okay.
And put this new one on. We'll make a call when your bus is ready.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And you have a safe trip. All right, everyone. So we just heard that conversation between a woman and the bus company employee. And the woman bought a bus ticket to Calgary, Alberta, which is a city in Canada. So, Suzanne, how about now we take a closer look at that conversation and identify the three most important parts and take a look at the expressions and the vocabulary that were used by both the woman and the bus guy. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, sounds great. So let's look at the first important thing. When the woman is asking about the bus schedule. So let's listen to that part again. I was wanting to go to Calgary 7:25 p.m. I was wanting to go to Calgary 7:25 p.m.
Okay, so actually, Suzanne, what was really striking about this conversation to me is that there were no greetings. There was not a hello, hey, how's it going? What's up?
Yeah.
Actually, the woman just goes right up to the counter and says, I was wanting to go to Calgary 7:25 p.m. And so this is a very clear way to just say what you want, although I don't know if it's the most polite way you could go about doing it.
Yeah, it seems like the woman is in a rush, maybe. And that's why. But you're right. There usually is a, hi, how are you?
Yeah. To me, it seems like maybe she thinks that there is no bus there. Like, because it's interesting. She says, I was wanting to go to Calgary, not I want to go to Calgary. So I think maybe she's hoping there's a 7:25 p.m. bus, but that she probably expects that there really isn't, that she already knows there isn't a bus at that time.
Right. That's true.
So the bus driver responds by saying, sorry, we don't have a 7:25 bus. So then she asks a very useful question. What time's the next time? What time's the next time? So when is the next bus departing, right?
Yes.
So there are several different ways you could ask this question. You could say, what time's the next time? Or what time does the next bus leave? Or when's the next departure? All of these questions achieve the same thing. They mean the same thing, right?
Right. Or just simply, when's the next bus for Calgary? Just the next bus for the location that you want.
When's the next bus for New York City? When's the next bus for
Yeah.
Vancouver? Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's very interesting that they don't really talk about the bus in the first couple exchanges. They actually just say 7:25, and we don't have a 7:25, right? So they don't refer to it as actually a bus, but a time.
Yeah, because I think when you're in the bus terminal at the counter ordering a bus
You
ticket,
assume.
everybody just assumes that you're talking about the bus, right? So you don't have to refer to the bus. We just know that you're talking about it.
Exactly.
And so one final thing here that I wanted to bring up, Suzanne, is the word that the bus counter guy uses to refer to the woman. He says, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm sorry. No, ma'am. Right? What does this word ma'am mean?
Well, it's kind of like, in French you would say madame or mademoiselle. It's like saying miss or sir. It's a formal yet general way of calling someone. It's polite, depending on whether or not you like to be called ma'am, I guess.
So we usually use this word only to refer to women, right? I think if somebody called me a ma'am, I might look at them strangely or get confused.
Yes.
And we use it when we don't know somebody's name, right? If we don't know their name,
Right.
we need a word, and ma'am is a polite word. If the woman is younger or a girl, you could say miss, right? Miss. And sir is the male equivalent. And actually, I use the words sir and ma'am all the time in my classroom when my students ask me a question. So they put their hand up, I say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I don't know why I do that, but
Nice.
it's a habit of mine when answering a question in the classroom.
That's great. That's funny.
Yeah, it's fun. I like doing it. And one final thing, this word ma'am, I think, is way, way more popular in the southern United States.
Yes. Yes.
Whenever I hear people from the southern part of the United States talk, they're using this word ma'am a lot. So that's one thing to keep in mind too. Depending where you are in the English-speaking world, your mileage may vary with this word ma'am.
It is very popular there. Very common.
Very common indeed. All right, Sue, I think we can move on to the second key part of today's conversation about buying a bus ticket, and that is when the ticket agent refers to the woman's bag and they talk about the baggage. Let's listen to that part of the conversation one more time. And you've only got just the one bag, correct?
I forgot I got to weigh that.
Just make sure that you tear the old tag off too. And you've only got just the one bag, correct?
I forgot I got to weigh that.
Just make sure that you tear the old tag off too. Okay, so the ticketing agent says, you've only got one bag, correct? You've only got one bag, correct? I'm assuming he says that because he can see that the woman only has one bag, right?
Right. That's probably what she brought up to the counter, and it's the only thing visible at that time.
So let's say that actually she was carrying many bags with her. They were just maybe in the waiting area where all the seats are. And she had to say, oh, no, I have many bags. What would you say in that situation, Sue? If I was the ticketing agent, you were the customer, and I said, you've only got one bag, correct?
So I guess if it's of a certain size, if it's not like a carry-on, then I would tell them how many I would have. So if it's more than one, if I have two big bags, I would say, no, actually I have two bags and one carry-on.
Perfect. Perfect. So, no, actually, I have 2 bags and 1 carry-on.
Or more. Maybe you have more.
And so the woman acknowledges, yes, I only have 1 bag. And then she says, I forgot. I got to weigh that. And so what is weighing a bag? What is this all about? Weighing a bag.
Yeah, usually they allow you to have a certain amount of kilos or pounds per bag for free. And I think that if if it's a little heavier, you might have to pay an extra fee on the bag. Or maybe if you have more than 1 bag, you can empty out some of one into the other to even out the weight. But they do expect each customer to have a certain amount per bag, I guess, to balance the bus, to balance out the luggage area.
Yeah, so there's always a weight limit whenever you take an airplane or take a bus, and you're expected to follow that limit. Your bag can't be too heavy. So that's why she says, oh, I gotta weigh that. And weigh here is WEIGH, right? The spelling, not WAY. And so this weigh means to measure the weight, the heaviness of an object.
Yeah.
And so the final point here that we should make is when the ticket agent says, just make sure you tear off that old tag. What's he talking about here? What is tear off and what is a tag?
Well, tear off is a phrasal verb that we use to rip or remove the old tag that, the bag tag. So maybe it had her address and her contact info, and it maybe had an old airline or an old bus company, and it's not current. So in this statement, he's making sure that she removes the old info and puts on the new tag.
Exactly, because if she keeps that old bag tag on her suitcase, then could get very confusing if that bag ends up lost or if somebody takes it by mistake.
Yeah.
All right, so after this part of the conversation, Suzanne, the ticketing agent takes the customer's name and phone number, and this is information that you should always be prepared to give. And also, you should have an ID card before you board the bus because sometimes they'll want to check your ID to make sure that it's actually you who is boarding the bus, that the name on the ticket matches the identity of the person who is riding.
Yeah, and if you're traveling between borders, so say you're visiting Canada and you're in Montreal and you want to take the bus to New York City for the weekend, make sure you have your passport because when you're crossing borders, even though you've managed to cross the border maybe in your first trip after your plane, if you're taking a bus to move around between the US and Canada, you still need your passport.
Yeah, absolutely. You need the passport to cross the border. So make sure you have your ID, have your passport, have all your documents ready to go. Okay, so guys, now we'll take a look at the third important part of the conversation. And this is just confirming the details of the bus trip. So let's listen to that third important part of this conversation one more time right now. Okay, Miss Smith, your bus is going to be leaving out there from gate 10 at 10:20. Just make sure you tear that old bag tag off for me, okay?
Okay.
And put this new one on. We'll make a call when your bus is ready.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And you have a safe trip. So, Suzanne, what does the ticketing agent tell Miss Smith, the woman, Miss Smith?
So the ticketing agent makes sure that she knows the gate or the door number in which she needs to be waiting at. Like, I guess in the airline, it's a gate. And sometimes in a bus station, it could be a gate, or it could be a door to the garage area. And he's making sure that she knows which gate to stay by and at what time. So he's just making sure that she knows where the bus is going to be leaving from. So she makes it on her bus.
Cool. And then he reminds her one more time to put on a new bag tag. And then he lets her know that they'll make a call when your bus is ready. We'll make a call. What does this mean? We'll make a call when your bus is ready.
Here, make a call means that there will be an announcement, usually from the desk or the gate or over the loudspeaker through the terminal, to give a call for all the passengers to head over to the gate because the bus is boarding.
And from my experience riding the bus in North America, I wouldn't rely on that call as a good warning for boarding the bus, because riding the bus in North America is, well, it's not the same as riding an airplane. The equipment isn't great in the bus terminal, and those speakers are very, very crackly, and it's hard to understand what people say when they make announcements. So don't depend on an announcement over the loudspeakers.
I assume a lot of people would travel to New York City because it's a very popular place to go. And it's very, there's a big Port Authority bus terminal right near Times Square. And let me tell you, it is not a very accessible, information-wise terminal. So be ready to ask questions and directions. Don't be afraid. And don't wait for that call.
When I took the bus to New York City one time, I was confused in that bus station, and I speak English really well.
Yes, it's really confusing.
Yeah, if you're a tourist that doesn't speak English natively, then just leave extra time, right? I think that's the best thing to do. Make sure that you're early, and you should be cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, Suzanne, I think that about wraps it up for today.
All right.
Yeah. I want to thank everyone, as always, for listening, and remind you guys one more time that our website is culips.com. And if you want to get the transcript and practice exercises for this episode, just check out the website to download that study guide.
And also remember that we're on Facebook at facebook.com/Culips podcast. And you can get in touch with us by emailing contact, so CONTACT @culips.com.
We will be back soon with another new episode, and we'll talk to you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Have you signed up for the Culips newsletter? You can receive updates on all the latest episodes, tips about learning English, and special Culips offers delivered directly to your inbox for free. To join, just visit culips.com and enter your email address at the bottom of the page.